What is up, YouTube? Welcome to PanFro Games, and the 7-star Metagross raid is coming out later this week, this Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern, and we have some of the best builds that you can prepare before this raid so you're ready to get it on day one. Of course, guys, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and let's dive in. Now for my raid overview predictions. So, I'm predicting the ability is going to be Clear Body in the Metagross because the other ability really doesn't do anything for it, and they seem to make these pseudo-legendary raids a little bit more difficult. So Clear Body means we cannot debuff it. It's going to be immune to Intimidate, going to be immune to Acid Spray, let alone it is Terra Steel, so it's going to be immune to Acid Spray no matter what, but that's not a viable strategy, nor is Gastro Acid. The only way to really move its ability is going to be a skill swap. Now, it's going to be level 100. It could be times 30 or times 35 HP. These raids seem to have been more tending towards times 30 recently with the pseudo-legendary, so maybe we'll continue that trend. Now, looking at the stats, physical attack and defense are the best two stats. So you're going to want to have a bulky, physically defense Pokemon, but also a Pokemon that can hit it on the special side, because its special defense is pretty low at 90 in comparison to his other stats, and that HP is 80. So if you have like a really strong special attacker, you'll actually be able to cut through this Metagross relatively easily. Now, it is rather slow at 70, so it could be pretty easy to outspeed. However, it could have a move like Agility to make up for that bad speed. But I don't think it's going to be a mixed attacker. 95 special attack is decent, but it doesn't really get any good special attacking steel moves. I think it's going to be a full physical beast this time around. Now, the moves I think it's going to have is a signature move, Meteor Mash. Meteor Mash does a lot of damage. There's going to be stab boosted, tear boosted, and it has a chance of increasing its attack. Now, if it does Meteor Mash to every player on turn 1, that is 4 chances of getting that +1 boost. So this is a raid where this Metagross can easily hit that +6 attack. Now, I think its other stab move is either going to be Zen Headbutt or Psychic Fangs. Zen Headbutt is learned naturally, so it has a higher chance in my opinion, and it can also flinch, which can definitely be problematic. Psychic Fangs will go through screens and remove them. Now, it learns Hammer Arm via level up, so maybe we'll have it just for the flavor. And Earthquake is the great coverage move to remove the fire types from this raid in general. And honestly, like, Zen Headbutt is going to be destroying all the fighting types as well. So we're sort of pretty much all the good options against this Metagross is going to have something that can hit us incredibly hard with. So it's going to be a relatively rough raid here. Now, Agility and Hone Claws look to be the big two support moves that can have Agility for his low speed, but Hone Claws give it a +1 attack and +1 accuracy. Meteor Mash and Zen Headbutt are not really accurate moves, so I could really see a turn 0 Hone Claws, and then it'll never miss Meteor Mash and never miss Zen Headbutt, making those moves really phenomenal in general. So we could be tending on those side. However, I think for this raid, the big key is we need to remove its ability, and if we don't remove its ability, we need to cut that attack in half with a burn. Now, my philosophy for raid builds was to go rather simple for preparation because we've already built a lot of these Pokemon in the past to deal with a Pokemon like Metagross, and Skeletors may actually be the best Pokemon. So fire types do resist steel, which is going to be massive defensively, and we're going to go Terra Fire and Shell Bell for that HP recovery. Max special attack, max defense to optimize our defenses, and Skeletors has a really great HP stat too, so we're going to be able to take all these hits. Now, even better, we have the hidden ability Unaware, so we're going to need ability pass for that. Unaware makes it so you can ignore all their stat changes. So let's say the Metagross is at +6 attack from Meteor Mashing and Hone Clawsing, or the accuracy buff from that. Well, you're going to be unaware to all those changes in general, so you don't really care. So you're going to be mostly fine. Your raw bulk will be able to take a Earthquake from Metagross because Metagross, has a big attack stat. However, it's not stab. So that's a pretty big buff for you, and you built up your defenses and your HP stat a bit too. So the moves here are going to be Torch Song. The best move is going to give you +1 special attack, and is going to do stab super effective damage. With the Shell Bell, give you recovery back as well. When you hit +6, switch over to Flamethrower, does a little bit more damage. Now, Protect is really important. On the turn that the Metagross removes your ability, you want to hit Protect. This makes it so that when you get hit by an attack that turn, and you don't have your Unaware, you can essentially take any hit, don't take any damage, and then the next turn, when you have your ability back, you're going to be fine. You don't have to pay attention about the stat changes on the Metagross. Let's say he was like +6, you would probably die, but if he's not, or even if he was, you just hit Protect, and then, okay, we can move on to the next turn and ignore if he was +6. And the last move doesn't really matter. I just have Slack Off as a good defensive move. This is an egg move, so you can breed this, or you can do this with a mirror herb, up to you. Next up is Armoroo's. Armoroo's is really cool because you do resist both steel and you resist psychic too. So you're going to resist both stab moves, which is really nice, and Terrifier with a Shell Bell. Exact same concept though. Special attack and defense, modest nature. Your ability doesn't really matter here, but I just have Flash Fire. Now I will say, comparing bulk, you know, Skeledirge is a little bit more bulky, but you do have a little bit more special attack, but Skeledirge sets up a little bit easier. But what I really like about the Armoroo's, and you can honestly use this Armoroo's as a supporter on online rating too, is you get the move of Lava Plume. Now, Lava Plume is going to do stab super effective damage and have a 30% chance of burning. We're going to burn the Metagross, and even if he's like at +6 attack, it's essentially going to be more like at a +3 potentially because of the burn. And this is going to be great if you're doing solo, but especially on online, just having someone dedicated to burn is going to be really helpful. Now, to increase your defenses, we have Iron Defense. So let's say you burn them and then you put 1 Iron Defense. You're pretty much fine at that point. You're going to be good to go. You probably take any hit. And to boost your own special attack, we're going to have Calm Mind and Flamethrower. I'll say this build is a little bit more clunkier than the Skeledirge, but you do have, you know, some nice options with the Lava Plume for sure. Now, Delphox, another fire and psychic type Pokemon. This is going to allow you to resist both the steel and the psychic moves. Terrifier and the Shell Bell, exact same setup, plus special attack with the Modest, max special attack, max defense. You know, comparatively, it's not as strong defensively as these other options, but what you do have is you have Skill Swap. Now, Skill Swap means you can immediately remove his ability, which is huge, and now you have Clear Body, so you can't get any stat debuffs. And this is gonna be great for solo, especially if you have Intimidate partners. Because you have Intimidate partners, you can just, whenever they faint, they'll just come back and just drop that -1. Or if you're raiding online, this is gonna allow support Pokemon to start debuffing, whether they have like Chilling Water or like an any other debuffing move. That's gonna be great. Now, we don't have a Lava Plume, but we do have Scorching Sands. And Scorching Sands is essentially going to be doing the exact same thing as Lava Plume and his special attacking move. It's super effective, not stab, but it's going to do a good amount of damage. What Delphox has above the others, though, is you do have Nasty Plot. So you can actually Nasty Plot, get +2 special attack, and then go for Flamethrower. Pretty good, but you don't have a way of increasing your defenses, so you're going to be the most fragile out of the 3 options here. Now, for our final fire type option, we have Torkoal with the Terrifier and the Shell Bell. Now, Torkoal is pretty strong because you have the ability Drought, putting up the Sun for 5 turns, giving you a 50% fire damage boost. And we're going to max special attack, max defense with a modest nature. Now, you have base 140 defense, so you're actually going to be able to tank these Metagross hits really well. And we do have access to Iron Defense, so setting up one of these is going to be really helpful during the raid. Now, Lava Plume is going to be our main attacking move until we get that burn. And then once we get that burn, we can do Sunny Day Flamethrower when the sun goes out and just try to do some stab, Terra boosted, sun boosted damage. And honestly, you can run Torkoal as a support Pokemon too, because being able to just set up the sun and burn puts you in a pretty good support role for online raiding too. Now, we have a couple of body press options, and I do want to say Torkoal could be a body presser, but I think it's better ran as a fire type special attacker. But Rongzong is going to be a really strong body presser in this raid. Now, I will say the body pressers are going to be rather slow in terms of their clear time. So keep that in mind. Like, you will probably be able to clear it with them, but you'll probably have a very little bit of time left on the timer. So Steel Psychic means you have great resistances in this raid. And we have going to Terra Fighting with a Shell Bell, because we're going to be using Body Press. Our abilities Levitate are going to be immune to ground. And we're going to go max HP, max defense with a plus defense nature. And pretty much it's going to be super easy. Iron Defense all the way up. Then start spamming Body Press. Before we do Body Press, though, you probably want to hit 3 Earthquakes, because you want to hit that Terra Fighting as quickly as possible once you get your attack going. And, you know, you could waste Body Press and do that. But, you know, if you just want a move that does some decent damage at the beginning, you could go for Earthquake or something like that. Reflect, it's just a move on this moveset if you want to give you a little bit more defense. Now, note that Reflect does not increase Body Press attack. However, it will give you and your team a little bit more defense options, and you can use this online to help out the rest of your team. Now, the last body presser we have is Dondozo. And Dondozo with the Terra Fighting and the Shell Bell. With the ability Unaware, same ability as Skeledirge. So you're going to be not recognize any of the buffs that the Metagross is going to have. We're going to go max HP, max defense with a plus defense nature. And unfortunately, we don't have Iron Defense, but we do have Curse, which is going to give us +1 attack, +1 defense, +1 speed. Now, the reason why I decided to go for body press instead of going for something like an earthquake, I guess, for our main attacking stat, body press just does more damage for us at the end of the day because we do have a higher defense stat than attacking stat in general. Plus, it's sort of the safer option. But if you want to go physical, you want to go max attack and I guess buff your HP or buff your defense, you could go curse earthquake. That's just going to be up to you. But you would have to go for Terra ground in that case. So it just depends. There's a couple different ways to build a Dondozo. But the important thing is having the unaware is pretty good. And the only important moves here is going to be curse. And then if you're going to go for Terra ground, you can go for earthquake. Terra fighting, you can go for body press. And then fourth move, I just had stomping tantrum just to do some additional damage just in case you need to use it. But I don't think you will have to. Now, I have one support build that's truly dedicated to support, unlike the Torkoal. But Umbreon with the Terra Dark and Shell Bell. Now, your ability, it doesn't really matter. You could go with Inner Focus or you can go with Synchronize. Just depends what your team comp is going to be. But the point about Umbreon is, one, you're super bulky, max HP, max defense with a plus defense nature. You're going to skill swap on turn 1, and skill swap is going to make it so that they will, Metagross will get their ability from the Umbreon. So you can have Synchronize on them, or you could have Inner Focus. Just depends on which one you think is better. First, I think Synchronize has its advantages. However, you are burning the Metagross, then whoever does the burn will get burned back unless they're a fire type. So maybe Synchronize is better in this case. But what we're going to be doing here is Fake Tears is going to be excellent to lower that special defense once you remove its ability with skill swap. And then once the shields go up, you're just going to spam Mudslap for the rest of the raid. This is going to lower the accuracy, which is going to be absolutely awesome. Essentially, Metagross just will be consistently missing, and you should just win the raid at that point. So one Umbreon on the team is going to be really helpful for online raiding. And you have Taunt, just in case it decides to set up or anything like that during the raid, whether it's an agility, whether it's an iron defense, a home claws, you can use a Taunt and just make it so it just can't boost. And that's pretty much all the raid builds we have here, guys. I think this is a solid set of builds that will help you clear the raid. Of course, we'll have the raid guide out on Thursday when the raid is out, and we will be figuring out which one is one of the best. But I do think the Skeledirge will end up being the overall best, but we shall see. Anyways, guys, hope you have a good one. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. Support the channel, join the Pan Fam, hit that join channel member button below, and I'll see you next time. Peace out and have a good one.